My name is Tina Collier, and I'm creating an activity for higher level readers in the 5th grade classroom for Glass Slipper, Gold Sandal, A Worldwide Cinderella by Paul Fleischman. This activity, I'm considering higher level reading skills. That means they're able to work more independently, and they're able to use higher level thinking skills a little easier than medium or lower level, reading students. We're going to be addressing the standard LAFS.5.RL.2.4, just as the previous medium level. We're going to determine the meaning of words and phrases as they are used in the text, including figurative language such as metaphors and similes. Before doing the activity or reading, we're going to review figurative language, metaphors, and similes. I want students to be pretty comfortable with this concept already. The actual activity itself, we're going to read the story as a class. I may stop a few times to just ask them, is this figurative, literal? Again, I wouldn't elaborate. I'm going to place students in groups of 2 to 4. And then each group is going to be given a sample of a simile or a metaphor from this text itself. Students have to figure out what type of language it is. Then they have to create their own metaphor or simile to replace the sample I gave them. So this is allowing them to be creative. They get to work in groups, so they get to brainstorm together. So it'll be a bit more of a social activity and it'll be more exciting for them. But the replacement text has to fit the theme and plot of the story. It has to make sense. So once all of the students have created their similes or metaphors, we're going to put them together in a story, and then we're going to read it out loud. So, for example, if they're handed, her own sour-faced daughters would curdle the milk if they looked at it twice. We have to decide, is that a simile or a metaphor? And then they have to create their own. So they might say, the stepsisters were masks of disgruntled English bulldogs. And then we can add that to the story. Since the book itself has a whole variety of different versions of Cinderella, it should be fairly easy to write a metaphor or simile that'll fit into the story itself. For the rubric, we are I'll be grading for figurative language identified, so that they identified it properly, and then they used the correct replacement for it. Grading for structure is the organization logical and easy to follow. Grammar, mechanics, and vocabulary is the next section. And finally, the theme. Did it address the theme, and is it incorporated properly into the story? Again, each one has 3 points, and we would multiply it by 5, and they would get 60. The best part about this activity is it's a very social activity. So students will get to work with each other. It's also very creative because they get to think of, their own metaphors and similes. And they'll be using analyzation skills as well, because they're going to have to think about what type of figurative language it is before they can write their own. Thank you for listening to my talk.